Hello, welcome to Denman Cookery School. My name is Ashley Keane and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a rough puff pastry and then using that pastry to make a sausage roll. So rough puff is a version of puff pastry, but it takes a lot less time and a lot less accuracy. So people prefer it if they want to make it at home rather than buying it. The good thing about making it yourself rather than buying it is that you can use the best butter you can buy. So you get some really flavoursome butters, as sometimes you buy puff pastries and unless they say all butter, they might be full of vegetable fats or things that you really don't want to eat. So simply, I've got equal quantities of butter and strong plain flour. I've got a 250 grams of butter and then the same in flour. I'm going to sieve the flour into a bowl with a good pinch of salt. Try and use sea salt because it hasn't got any processing, so it's better for you, and also it doesn't have that really strong taste you get from table salt. Okay, quickly sieve it into the bowl. If the salt's not pushing through properly, you might need to crumble it a bit more. There we go. And then the butter I've chopped up into a dice. This butter is cold, but it's not straight out the fridge. So it's been about 15 minutes out of the fridge just to take the chill off. You can, if you don't want to get your hands dirty here, you could use a knife or something to stir it around. I'm going to use my fingers, and what I'm doing here is just coating all of the pieces of butter in flour. What you're not doing is really already trying to bring it together and squidging it in to make a dough yet, because you need these pieces of butter to be slightly larger. So when we have the layers, you've got the air and then you've got the butter layers. And then the liquid we're going to use to bring it together is simply cold water. Make sure you use nice, cold, chilled water. I've got 150 mils, however, I may or may not need that much. So the best thing to do, so you don't end up with a dough that's too wet, is just do a bit at a time. So I'm going to make a well in the middle and then just pour about a third of the water in. And then I like to use a claw method, just start bringing it round. Use both hands, you can. And just check. And then just add a little bit at a time as you need more. The amount of water can sometimes depend on how dry your flour is. So the drier the flour, the more water it needs. Keep combining. Now you can start pushing it together. Like this. It's still a little bit dry. Just going to add a little bit more, especially at the bottom. So we really want to make sure we get all of that flour combined into it. Obviously you're still going to have quite large butter lumps in it, but that's not a problem. And once you think you've got pretty much everything off the side of the bowl, bring it out onto your surface. Just give it a quick knead to make sure it's all together. Like this, and then put it into a dough. And now this is ready to cover in cling film and refrigerate for at least an hour. Okay, so my pastry has been in the fridge for an hour now. I'm just going to unwrap it. And that's just given it time for the glutens to relax and also for the flour to continue absorbing water and liquid. I'm just going to flour my surface. And just pop the pastry down. And then we're going to roll it out to about 50 centimetres long and probably about 20. It doesn't need to be exact, but you just need it quite long. Keep moving the pastry around so you know the butter isn't going to stick. So there's still butter pieces. Add more flour if required. I find if you just roll long ways to start off with, and then you can come wider afterwards, you'll start to see the butter really stretching out as well. Now what we're going to do is do some folds. So a fold with the pastry is in thirds. So if you bring bottom corners up about a third like that, try and bring out what I call the ears. So bring the ears so they meet up, and then do the same with the top, again, holding the ears, so the corners, bring it down. And so what you end up with is 3 folds like that. And then straighten it up. And what we're going to do now is roll out again to the same size and repeat. So a bit more flour, because we've got this butter that can come out. And roll. If you find you get lost with how long it is and how wide it is, what you can do is draw on some greaseproof paper and almost give yourself a guide and just roll onto the greaseproof paper. Then each time that you do your folds, that paper's giving you your boundaries. So, long ways, out a little bit, like that. And as you'll see, it's actually squaring out quite a bit for where you're making your folds, which is quite nice. So I'm going to do again, bring the ears, bring them up, like that. And then fold this over the top. So we've got another nice piece. If you find that the butter is actually breaking through, you can pop it in the fridge just for another 20 minutes just to firm the butter up. If not, keep going. You'll really feel the dough starting to get more and more pliable and softer the warmer it gets and the more it gets rolled out. The rolling out is a bit like kneading when you knead bread. It's really stretching everything out. So what I'm going to do is just pop this in the fridge for just 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes, just to chill up, and then bring it back out again. Okay, so I've just given this another 15 minutes into the fridge, and now I'm just going to roll it out and give it another turn. So exactly the same as before. So bringing my thirds up, using the ears, making sure they're as square as you can get them. Same up here, and bring it down. Okay, right, I'm just going to do this one more time, and then it's going to go into the fridge to rest. I'd leave it for at least an hour. It lasts about 3 days in the fridge. Otherwise, it freezes really well. Just wrap it properly, and it freezes for about 3 months. Okay, so I've taken my puff pastry out. It's had time to rest. It was in there for about 2 hours at the end. I've cut it in half because I'm just going to make one sausage roll today. If you imagine how thick you want it, depends on the amount of sausage meat you want to add. I've only got about 400 grams today and some caramelised onions, but you can make some really thick ones if you wanted to. So just imagine when you roll it over how much space there is. Okay, so nice rectangle. So here I've got the sausage meat. I've just used plain sausage meat from the butcher's, which is slightly seasoned. So I've got these as the base, and then I'm going to just add flavours to it myself. So today I've got some caramelised onions, which I sautéed earlier, and lay it out along. I find it easier the edge closest to me. And then you want to leave a lip for a sealant, about either 1.5 centimetres to 2 centimetres, and a little gap here, because actually when we pull it over, it's going to expand slightly as it pushes out. Try and get it as equal as possible so it all cooks at the same time. We don't end up with too much. Right, next I'm going to add the caramelised onions. These are totally optional. I made them by just slicing up some red onions, and I very slowly sautéed them in some butter, oil and salt until they went really sticky, just like this. There's nothing else added to them. You could add sage, you could add apple, all sorts of fruit. Then just wash your hands. Because of the stickiness, you don't want to put that onto the outside of the pastry. So here I've got just a beaten egg, so a whole egg with some salt beaten together. And that's going to be like my glue that's going to, on the inside, it's going to glue the pastry together. So thank you very much for watching. If you want further recipes or videos, please visit the WI website.